coming on the air tonight, now halfway through the Republican National Convention. Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Lauren Moss.
And I'm Joshua Short. Tonight we are expecting to hear from former President Donald Trump's newly minted running mate, J.D. Vance. The senator will be formally accepting that nomination for president, for vice president that is. So let's check in with our George Mallet live in Milwaukee.
George, we know you spoke with candidate for governor here and current U.S. Senator Mike Braun. What's he saying today?
Well, there is so much excitement building here tonight because of the fact that, as you mentioned, Senator Vance will be speaking to the entire crowd. But it's interesting, just in the last 10 or 15 minutes, we had what the Secret Service described as a walkthrough by former President Trump, and he stood up there at the top of the convention hall looking out. He's got the bandage on his ears still. It's funny, when you're in the convention, you would think this is the hub place where you would get the interviews. We've actually had every bit as much luck outside of the Fiserv Forum, where there's more freedom to move around. And photographer Don Schoenfeld and I were out there, and we saw Senator Braun walking by, so we just jumped up and ran after him, and he graciously granted us an interview. Of course, as you know, he is running for governor. You're watching the goings-on.
Yeah.
Give me a sense of how you're feeling about your party and about the nation.
I don't think it's been in a better place for our party, and I think it's a culmination of the other side of the aisle with policies that we got to litigate. I think that needs to be what we win the merits of the case on. I think they got a candidate that has been kind of shaky from the beginning, and then you punctuate it with what happened Saturday. I always say that it's aligning in a way that I haven't seen it since I've been on the stage in 5.5 years. So, and I think it's then for us to try to sway those 3 to 5% that may still be making up their mind about what makes sense in terms of who's got the best message for the future.
And make no mistake, gubernatorial candidate Mike Braun is having fun.
All I can tell you is I've made this a joyful experience from the time I decided to run for it back in August of 17. And I think that if you don't do that, along with whatever you're trying to do, you're probably going to be frustrated from the get-go. And look at all that's happened in 5.5 years. And I'd do it again, actually. And I'm happy with my decision to leave that place and come back and interview for running the state.
And I'm going to borrow the senator's words and say get-go, because he has been a supporter of Donald Trump since the get-go. Of course, the president at the time endorsing him in his run for the Senate. We're going to be back here live at 5 o'clock with an interview with NBC Meet the Press's Kristen Welker, and we'll be checking in with our delegates as well. For now, though, we are live at the Fiserv Forum. George Mallet, 16 News Now. Back to you.
Describe where you are right now, George. It's quiet right now, but that wasn't the case. It seems like after 6 o'clock, things start to pop in there like something else.
Yeah, Josh, they dropped the gavel about 5 o'clock here,
okay.
So that's 6 o'clock your time, and that's when everybody comes filing in, and that's when they kind of clear us out, and that's what I'm referring to when I say that in some ways it's easier to get the interviews outside of Fiserv Forum than it is when you're kind of locked down here with in tight quarters, shall we say?
And members of the media, of course, right? George, we appreciate that. Thank you for bringing us that report, and we appreciate you being there in Milwaukee. And we want